something on your face. It was pain!
Welcome back everyone, and it's time to go balls deep. And here we are once again continuing our things you didn't know about series. We have a whole playlist which includes every single Naruto character we have done so far, but today it's all about pain.
Don't worry, Tsunade. It's a simple survey mission. I'll be good. Alright. Time to sneak.
Hey, you trying to get stumped out no jutsu?
Wait, what?
Yeah!
Oh, shit. Sage mode! Sage mode!
Pain, who is known as Nagato, is one of the undisputedly greatest characters in Naruto history. So with all our other videos, let's begin with the concept of his name on what's the deeper meaning Kishimoto intended. We all know Pain's given name is Nagato Uzumaki, as he is from the same clan as Naruto, therefore making them cousins. And just like many other characters in the Naruto world, the name pays homage to a historical ninja during Japan's feudal era. Nagato's name derives from Fujibayashi Nagato, who was the leader of a 16th century clan of ninja who was so dangerous as to prompt Oda Nobunaga in battle. Nobunaga invaded Iga and Koga villages to try and stamp out the ninja clans for good, but many of them went into hiding to preserve their culture. This is likely the inspiration for Pain's arc in the Land of Rain and his origin as an orphan. The creator of Naruto gave him the name Nagato as it is linked to his backstory and cycle of hatred philosophy. As we all know, Pain's backstory involves the other villages invading the Rain and destroyed the village in which multiple people starved, perished, or became orphans just like in real life. Furthermore, the Japanese characters that are used to spell Nagato mean long-lasting gate. This is a metaphor as Pain represents the greatest hurdle for Naruto to overcome and gave him the biggest impact to his character that lasted till what we now see in Boruto. Now moving on to how the creator of Naruto came up with the concept of Pain. Kishimoto has explained in the official third data book that Pain's aesthetic was designed to build off his name. He said a man called Pain should probably look like the kind of guy who would inflict pain on himself. Seems pretty simple, right?
Falcon Punch!
Taking a look at his early concept art and design, Kishimoto stated he wanted to strike the balance between a cool looking guy and someone who would be intimidating by looks alone. So as we can see how Kishimoto wanted Pain to look almost like a hedonist, someone who lived for the experience of pain, and this got further expanded on in the lore of his when the idea and functions of black receiver rods were introduced. Pain doesn't lack purpose, it is pain in the pursuit of a greater goal. Also, if you can see from the concept designs, we can see Pain could have had a partial mask with a feather or horn fitted to his forehead protector, but this was completely scrapped. The creation of Nagato's character was to help Kishimoto shape the ending of Naruto. The anime was known for its fight scenes, strategy, and rich lore regarding war. However, Kishimoto implicates the main characters themselves that they haven't experienced war themselves, so he felt like in Naruto Shippuden, he needed to create an arc that would teach the readers and the main characters of the show the strategies of war, thus introducing Pain with the cycle of hatred concept. Kishimoto realized that since Naruto had no knowledge of war and Sasuke was a victim of a civil war, he had to create Nagato as a war victim who would kill his sensei so that Naruto's character can realize the pain of Sasuke and what the reality of being shinobi actually is. Naruto's character needed maturity as he was exploring the concept of what makes us human, as we all suffer and are not perfect. This concept further led to the fourth Shinobi War, where Naruto would try to create peace through Pain's lessons and promise that he made to him at the end of the arc. Also, now that we know everything about Pain's design, let's talk about Kishimoto's comments about his fight with Naruto. We as a fan base can all agree that Naruto vs Pain is one of the greatest fights in all anime, let alone the series itself, right? The Pain entrance scene alone took Kishimoto 3 days just to draw that one image, which is mind-blowing.
3 days!
However, the way the events transpired at the end when Nagato decided to revive everyone back to life was something the creator of Naruto struggled with most whilst writing the entire series. Kishimoto stated that because he felt Naruto truly forgave his enemy, he found the idea of the two characters interacting and settling their difference more challenging. He did not want Naruto's character, who is a protagonist of a battle series, to end up being a hypocrite if he ends up killing Pain but decides to save Sasuke in the end. So he was struggling with coming up with a concept of how the Naruto vs Pain fight should actually end. So he described this event of his life as the following: painful! Nah, I'm being serious. Kishimoto said he himself faced the themes of hatred and revenge just like Naruto, in terms of him not being in the position of Sasuke or Pain in the story. It was only after Naruto lost Jiraiya, who was his father figure, where he felt his character can understand Sasuke's pain. But if he made Naruto kill Pain, what would he do from there? He puts himself in a difficult spot as a writer, and his editor told him not to dig so deep into that subject of philosophy. But Kishimoto said, "Fuck you, fam, what are you trying to say? You're trying to control my story? F you, bitch, I'm gonna go balls deep." So Kishimoto pushed on and said, how can he make a story like that when Naruto ends up being a hypocrite? How would the kids think of him? What would the fans and the readers do if they realize Naruto is an idiot? So he could not think of an answer at the time on how to end that arc at all, which led to sleepless nights, cold sweats, and being exhausted all the time throughout the writing. The creator of Naruto said he almost gave up in the Naruto vs Pain fight entirely on not being able to create a solution to the philosophical problem he presented to the audience, as Pain was somewhat correct in his ideology, right? He therefore came to the realization that Naruto would have to forgive Nagato just as Jiraiya would have wanted him to, as he told him since childhood that there is just too much hatred in the shinobi world, and one day Naruto would have to solve it. As a result, Naruto forgives Pain in the end, because he will then forgive Sasuke in the Valley of End as Kishimoto planned. Although he laments at the idea that he was forced to move in this direction, because as a writer, you can't just force your way to whatever you want. As soon as the Naruto vs Pain fight ended, he was pleased to know he could sleep peacefully again. Let's run on to the next fact regarding Pain's theme named Gire, the one where everyone is chanting and it makes anything seem so much cooler. Have you ever wondered what the chanting actually means and what are the lyrics to the song? Well, good, because I was thinking the same thing and found the deeper meaning. This article was created by Double Sama, who did all the research, so shout out to them. Now, if you don't mind my singing, I'm gonna try my best here. The first line of the correct lyrics is Mise no rikudo. Alright guys, I tried. It's Mise no rikudo, something like that. And this is translated as a pair of six paths eyes. This is undoubtedly referring to Pain's Rinnegan eyes, which are the defining feature of the Sage's six paths. The second line, Aniki no Boku, has two different translations. The first meaning my older brother. This translation would be referring to Yahiko, of course, Nagato's childhood friend, who was the real founding member of the Akatsuki, who died and whose corpse is now known as Pain's main body. The second translation could also mean anonymous. This would instead be referring to how Pain needs no identity. Everyone suffers pain in life as we are human. The third line, I know you guys are laughing your asses off at home. The third line can be roughly translated to Hand of Providence. So while the first line refers to his Rinnegan as a description of his appearance and skills, this third line is referencing his Rinnegan as an explanation of his divine right to rule. The Rinnegan is seen as this symbol of divine, and Pain is the only person known to have that other than the original Sage's six paths at the time. The Great Toad Sage told Jiraiya, the owner of these eyes will either bring great prosperity or great destruction to the world. The fourth and final line is Konoti Boku wa. And it's a simple declaration that translates to this is who I am. As in, just like with everyone else, Pain is simply a combination of all his past experiences throughout his life and how the world has a cyclic nature linking back to his philosophy. Oh, my singing was music to the ears. It doesn't shatter a glass at all. For fact number 5, we are going to talk about the symbolism of the six paths of Pain, as they are based on Buddhist theology. Although I have already done a video explaining all the religious symbolism and inspiration of the Dojutsu 4 years ago, in which I go into detail of every path and how Kishimoto was inspired to create them. This video is called Mind-Blowing Things About the Rinnegan. If you haven't seen that video, please do check it out, but bear in mind, I sound kinda different back then since I was still learning step by step on how to do YouTube. So if you are a subscriber from that long ago, comment ABD Squad in the comments to let me know, and let's get to 10,000 goddamn likes at least for this video to help support the channel. Also hit the notification bell if you can. I'd really would appreciate it, as we cover Naruto as often as we can, and I love you guys. You are sexy ass people. Oh shit, I mean,
FBI, open up!
So So for those of you that stuck around, here's a quick summary. In Buddhist theology, specifically the Samsara, they represent the 6 paths upon which all souls are reborn, whose reincarnation continues until one has attained nirvana. Nirvana in Buddhism directly correlates to Pain's ideal of peace, where everyone understands pain and the truth of the shared world beyond our individual selfish desires. The paths themselves are split into groups of 3, by those that are good and those that are evil. The Deva, Asura and human paths represent potentially good paths a soul could be reincarnated into should they have positive karma. That is to be reborn as a human or various forms of lesser divine beings, sort of like angels that are still subject to reincarnation. However, the animal, Preta and Naraka path represent the path of those who have lived a poor life accumulating negative karma, to be born as an animal, lesser demon or tortured souls. The outer path is derived from the Sanskrit term Tirthika, hopefully I pronunciate that right, but is referring to any doctrine that treads the outer path to enlightenment, which you guessed it, Pain does in the Naruto anime. The Preta path grants the user the ability to absorb chakra in any form. Well, in Buddhism, the Preta are humanoid creatures which are perpetually hungry and thirsty but are unable to satisfy themselves, living lives similar to those of hopeless addicts trying to appease their unyielding hunger. This is why the creator of Naruto gave this version of Pain those particular jutsu, as it represents the Buddhist inspiration. The Naraka path grants the user 2 main abilities, interrogation and restoration, by using the King of Hell, right? The King of Hell is a deity in Naruto that rules over life and death. Similarly, the King of Hell is based on Yama, the judge of the dead who rules over the hells or purgatories in Buddhism. Naraka is the Sanskrit word for the underworld, and in Hinduism it is a place where souls are sent for expiation of their sins. So you know when you see in Naruto the King of Hell using his tongue? Well, that is a play on the belief that if you lie to Yama, he will rip out your tongue. And yet again, all the jutsu Naraka path uses in Naruto is based on religious inspiration. The human path grants a Rinnegan user the ability to read the mind of any target by placing his hand on the target's head or chest and yanking the soul out of the body. In Buddhism, the human realm is based on passion, desire, doubt and pride, and therefore the ability to read someone's mind through jutsu is essentially finding out this information from a shinobi using the human path abilities. Moving on to the Asura path, which grants the user the ability to augment their own body to summon mechanized armor, various ballistic and mechanical weaponry. This again was inspired from Buddhism, as the Asura realm is the plane of semi-divine warring demons. They live in constant violence and conflict to which there is no resolution nor peace. This is why the creator of Naruto gave the path weapons, since it represents war and fuels violence all the time in the real world as well. The Asura path in theology is said to allow the user to possess 6 arms and 3 faces, each of them displaying a different emotion, which again why this path in Pain had 6 arms in the anime. The animal path grants the Rinnegan user the ability to summon various animals, and this one is pretty much self-explanatory. But lastly, the Deva path, which grants the user to manipulate attractive and repulsive forces with objects and people. Now in Buddhism, the Deva realm is the realm of bliss. The Deva realm is sometimes also referred to as God's realm because compared to humans, its inhabitants are so powerful that they could be compared to deities. This goes back to what I explained earlier in the video, in which Pain's whole concept and theme song is linked to him being this supposed godly figure at the time he was introduced in the series. Okay, for the next fact, let's address the elephant in the room, fam, because some of you actually believe the Naruto vs Pain fight was animated quite poorly or funny, and I bet some of you have probably commented that shit already in the video. Again, I have done a video discussing this around 3 years ago if you want to check it out in the pinned comment. But the director of the infamous episodes has a couple of reasons on why the fight panned out the way it did. Here is the man himself explaining his reasons to Crunchyroll in an interview.
基本的には僕はですね、あまりにも地に足がついてない動きっていうのは好きではなくてですね、人間ができる動きっていうわけではないんですが、実際に例えば、この空間とか、時間が存在する中でこういう物体がこういうエネルギー量を持って動いてたらどう見えるかみたいなことの方を結構考えていてですね、例えば僕の動きが人間っぽくない時っていうのは僕がそれを人間だと思って書いてない時なんですね。例えば人が殴られて吹っ飛ぶみたいなカットがあったとして、普通だったらその人間が殴られて吹っ飛ぶっていうのは現実考えたらそんなに飛ばなかったりとかそんなにくるくる回転しなかったりするんですけど、僕その時その人間を多分 バーだと思ってたりとか、あるいはロケットだと思ってたりとかミサイルだと思ったりして書いているっていう、その何らかの動きと何らかの、動きというかあれですね、対象オブジェクトを融合させたり入れ替えたり、組み合わせたりっていうことを多分してるから、そういう。
And lastly, thank you for all of you that have not fell asleep yet so far. Let me know in the comments if you haven't fallen asleep by saying something like Naruto is the GOAT or something. But this is gonna be kind of like a run where this is a plot hole, mate. Okay, so let me explain some plot inconsistencies in the writing of Naruto, because some of this shit makes no sense without creating headcanon or other explanations of how the story unfolded. So the first question that I'd like to propose is, how the hell did Madara give his Rinnegan to Nagato in the first place? His plan was flawed from the very beginning. We know his plan was for the Rinnegan to be used to resurrect him later with Rinne Rebirth. He is later disappointed to discover that it's Edo Tensei used by Kabuto, right? Madara said this himself to Obito in chapter 601. However, how did Madara create this plan at all when he met Obito later on? How did he know he would meet Obito and take him on as a student or pawn per se to make his plan go into fruition in the first place?
That don't make no sense.
In chapter 602 is when Obito and Madara met for the first time, and he states he has already given his Rinnegan away to someone else. Why did Madara make this plan initially when he didn't have someone to do it for him?
That don't make no sense.
Furthermore, Madara told us that his Rinnegan eyes activated when he was near his natural death. So how did he even transplant them? We never see him kidnapping Nagato or going to the rain to do it himself. He must have told Zetsu to do it for him, as he thought Zetsu was created by him. Maybe that's something we could say. But this gets even dumber when we see that Madara could be revived by Obito using one Rinnegan anyway. He could have had Black Zetsu force Obito to do it later on. Madara doesn't care about Obito's. He said that himself, so there's no reason for him to try and spare his life or Nagato's. What was this? This was a shit grand plan. I mean, how is this even a grand plan if it's so flawed? What if Pain, with all his power, joined with Conan, actually decided to betray Obito, pretending to be Madara at the time? That would mean Nagato would win with his ideology being dominant. Pain and Conan defeating Obito could have been a possible outcome if things didn't pan out for plot convenience. What if Pain said, I'm gonna betray you now, and he has that potential until Obito became super overpowered? But let me continue. The second question that comes to mind, how come Conan didn't simply destroy the Rinnegan when Nagato died? Conan literally admits to Toby, who is pretending to be Madara, that I knew you would appear before me, and that her whole plan of creating paper bombs for 10 whole minutes to make sure he would not survive, she had preemptive knowledge. So if Conan hated Madara's ideology and plan, so much so that she now believed in Naruto and not war this whole time, why didn't she just use her brain, use her big brain syndrome, and fix the whole situation by destroying the Rinnegan eyes that would make the plan fail, as this would have caused the Rinne Rebirth plan not to occur, or Obito to gain so much power where he could start the fourth war in the first place? How come this plot device was later used once again when Sakura was given the option to destroy Obito's Rinnegan eyes to stop Madara, but she ended up failing in doing so? This is what you called plot convenience. Now going balls deep, Real Donzo from Reddit breaks this down really well. Yahiko, Nagato, and Conan are 4 to 5 years older than Kakashi and Obito. Yahiko was stated to have died at 15 years old, which would mean that Obito was 10 or 11 at the time. Yet Obito met with the orphans after he already became Toby at the age of 14, and Yahiko was alive to call him crazy. Even for some reason you don't believe this or try to think of headcanon excuse, in the Pain Invasion arc, Choji describes the Devil Path Pain, who is Yahiko, as late 20s to mid 30s to Tsunade. Either he was completely off by 15 years, or Kishimoto forgot about the entire Naruto timeline. Therefore, this is all plot convenience or plot hole per se once looked at holistically. Anyway guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. That's pretty much all of everything that I want to say. Check out the playlist for other Naruto videos in the pinned comment. As I said, we have covered every single Naruto character there is, and I hope you enjoyed going balls deep. Be sure to smash that like button, follow me on Twitter or Instagram for behind the scenes, and I'll see you guys next time.